Okay, guys, so we're sat in Starbucks at the moment waiting for a train. We've got a question coming in, and the question is, like, does it matter at what time of day you eat in terms of fat loss? So, like, does it matter if you skip breakfast and have 2 or 3 meals later in the day? Do you need to eat breakfast? Like, what's important here? So, no, in short, it doesn't really matter. Like when you eat during the day, if fat loss is your goal, then you need to make sure that you're eating enough protein and you're in a calorie deficit in order to reach your goal. Whether you eat all of your calories in the morning and then don't eat for the rest of the day, or skip breakfast and then eat your calories later in the day, is kind of like personal preference. So for some people, if you lead a particularly stressful life, then eating breakfast is a good idea, because the harder your day gets, like the further on you go, the more likely you are to just grab and snack and things. So if you can get a good protein-filled breakfast, it's going to help you feel full and going to prevent you from snacking. That's a great idea. For some people, they're not that hungry in the morning and they don't get that temptation to snack during the day, then you can get away with not eating breakfast and then eating your calories later in the day. That works too. It's all personal preference. As long as you're hitting the amount of calories you need and getting enough protein in, it doesn't really matter when you actually eat the food, providing you just do. So it comes down to personal preference. No, skipping breakfast is not going to decrease your metabolism, and no, eating breakfast doesn't increase your metabolism. It's not the most important meal of the day. It may be for some people, depending on their goal and their jobs and their lives, but for the most part, it's really not gonna make that big a difference. So again, like I say, it's personal preference. There is no kind of, well, you know, X says that breakfast is the most important day, so I must do that. It doesn't work like that. It's whatever works for you. So depending on your schedule, depending on your goal, depending on how many calories you need to be eating per day, will dictate the answer as to when you should be eating. Now, I have quite a few clients, and this works quite well for a lot of people, is we tend to save up some extra calories for the evening. So we eat less throughout the day, save some calories for the evening, because that's typically when social occasions are. That's typically when most people overeat. So if we can save some calories for the evening, then that makes life a little bit easier. But it's not completely necessary. It's whatever works for you. So thinking about it from a long-term point of view, figure out how many calories you need to be eating per day. I'll link that below, and what your protein goals are, and then work out when the best times to eat for you are. So whether you like eating later in the evening, or you prefer eating breakfast in the morning and then snacking throughout the day, that's cool. You can work that out and base that around your needs. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all approach, guys. It really doesn't.